When I first moved into my new apartment, I was just looking for a fresh start. My last relationship had ended badly, and I wanted quiet, space, and maybe even a little bit of healing. What I didn't expect was to find someone who would change the way I saw love altogether. Her name was Evelyn. She lived in the apartment right across from mine. She was older by at least 15 years, carried herself with a kind of grace I had only ever seen in movies. Her hair was always pinned up neatly, silver strands catching the sunlight, and she always smelled faintly of roses. The first time we spoke was in the hallway. I was struggling with a heavy box, the cardboard digging into my arms, my breath coming in short, frustrated puffs. Just as I was about to give up and drop it, she stepped out of her apartment with perfect timing. "Need a hand?" she asked, her voice soft but commanding at the same time. I looked up, startled. I hesitated, my pride kicking in. I can manage." She gave me a knowing look, one that said she'd seen this brand of stubbornness 100 times before. She then grabbed the other side of the box anyway. "You'll hurt your back if you keep being stubborn." That was EvelynPractical.com and a little bossy. And somehow, I didn't mind. I just mumbled a thank you as we carried the box inside together. She didn't linger, just gave a small nod and went back to her own apartment, leaving me with the lingering scent of roses and a feeling of unexpected gratitude. After that, our paths crossed more often. It was the little things at first. She'd be out watering her plants on her balcony in the morning while I stumbled out to grab my mail, still half asleep. She'd offer me a piece of whatever she'd just baked when we met at the elevator. Once she noticed I looked completely exhausted after a long week. "You look like you could use some tea," she said simply, and before I could protest, I was sitting in her cozy, sunlit living room, a warm mug in my hands. Slowly, what started as neighborly politeness turned into something deeper. Those brief encounters became late-night conversations on her balcony, wrapped in blankets against the cool night air. She shared stories about her travels through Europe in her 20s, her heartbreaks with men who couldn't keep up with her spirit, and her quiet victories in a life lived fully. She listened to my fears about starting over, my frustrations with work, my silly everyday anxieties. She never offered easy solutions or empty platitudes. She just listened, her presence a calming balm on my frayed nerves. I found myself drawn to her in a way I couldn't explain. She wasn't just beautiful, though. She was in a timeless, elegant way, but she made me feel safe, like I didn't have to put on an act or prove myself. Around her, I could just be. I could be messy, unsure, and vulnerable, and she wouldn't flinch. Her apartment became my sanctuary. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, she invited me over for dinner. I walked in to find the table set with candles, the soft glow flickering across her face. She had cooked a simple but delicious meal, roasted chicken and vegetables. We laughed, we talked, and the stress of my day melted away with each passing minute. Then, somewhere between dessert and her pouring more wine, I noticed the way she was looking at me. It wasn't casual. It wasn't just friendly. It was something else. Something that made my heart race and my breath catch in my throat. The air between us grew thick with unspoken words. "Evelyn," I whispered, my voice barely audible. She leaned closer, her eyes searching mine. "You feel it too, don't you?" I didn't answer with words. I couldn't have, even if I tried. I leaned forward and our lips met. It wasn't a rushed, frantic kiss like the ones I was used to. It was slow, deliberate, like she was teaching me a new language, a language that said intimacy could be gentle, that love didn't have to be hurried or loud to be real. My hands, which had been resting nervously in my lap, found hers, and they trembled against her steady, warm skin. And for the first time in a very, very long time, I felt truly, completely alive. After that night, everything shifted. The invisible line between neighbors and something more dissolved completely. She became more than just my neighbor. She became my confidant, my lover, my anchor in a world that often felt like a storm. We spent quiet mornings drinking coffee together, our legs tangled under a blanket on her sofa. We spent afternoons exploring hidden corners of the city she knew so well, little bookshops, quiet parks, tiny art galleries. We spent our nights wrapped up in each other's arms, the city lights twinkling below us. It felt easy. It felt right. Of course, not everyone understood. When I finally worked up the courage to tell a close friend about Evelyn, her first reaction was a frown. "She's older, isn't she? Don't you want someone your own age? Someone you can build a future with?" Her words stung, planting a seed of doubt I tried desperately to ignore. But love isn't about numbers on a calendar. It's about connection, about finding that one person who sees you in a way no one else does. Evelyn saw me past my fears, past my insecurities, past the walls I'd built around my heart. She saw the real me, and she loved me anyway. One night, as we were standing on her balcony, watching the rain streak down the glass, I finally voiced my fear. "Do you ever worry about what people think?" She turned to me, her expression soft, and smiled, taking my hand in hers. "I stopped living for other people a long time ago," she said, her thumb gently stroking my knuckles. "What matters is us, right here. Do you feel happy with me?" Tears welled in my eyes as I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. "More than I ever thought I could be." She kissed my forehead softly, a gesture so full of tenderness it took my breath away. "Then that's all that matters." Being with Evelyn has taught me lessons I never imagined I'd learn. She showed me that love doesn't come with a set of rules or a pre-approved timeline. She showed me that sometimes the person who is truly meant for you isn't the one you were expecting to find. And even though the world outside might sometimes whisper its judgments, when I'm with her, it all fades away. Because in her eyes, in her arms, I finally understand what love is. It has no age, no boundaries, no limits. It just is. And with Evelyn, it's everything. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, I love it. If you like this video, and subscribe to the channel for more stories. See you next time.